Welcome to For Those About to Brawl, the MMA and boxing podcast from Manchester, England. This show is brought to you by the double team of Den and Chutney. This podcast will focus on all things combat, including reviews, previews, opinions, and everything in between. Chutney, how are you doing after that smooth intro?
It was very smooth. First time as always. Yeah, really good. I'm very well, thanks. Feeling a bit nostalgic today, Dan.
Really? Why?
Because I'm wearing this.
I'm not sure
UFC 204.
We might have put the camera on widescreen, mate.
Yeah, the graphics, the font's been stretched a bit. You could just about make out Michael the Count Bisping on there. UFC Manchester, which was an event that you and I went to in October of 2016.
Wow.
4 years ago, almost. It's a long time ago, isn't it?
And that was the one that was at 3 a.m. or something, wasn't it?
It started at midnight on the dot.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of fights on here that I don't remember Gegard Mousasi being in the co-main.
Yeah. Who did he fight?
Vitor.
Oh, he hammered him, didn't he?
It's a half decent card for Manchester. But pay-per-view at midnight, I hope it'd be a little bit better.
Didn't you see you meet your mate Mike Perry there?
Yeah, I did, yeah. And anyway, it was a good night, then. Often talk about fighters when they fight in Fight Island, for example, or in Manchester when they do a pay-per-view at times suited for the American audience, and how difficult it is for the fighters. What about for us starting drinking at midnight?
That was hardcore.
Yeah.
I think some of us, I'm sure I was out the night before. I think you were as well.
I stayed up till 6 a.m. the night before thinking I'd get to change my body clock. That didn't work.
Wasn't it weird queuing up trying to get in the arena at 11 o'clock at night? I remember that.
It was very strange. And people, passers-by, just staring at us. What are these knobheads doing?
All of us queued up,
and like fair play.
T-shirts.
And had we told them, they still wouldn't have had a clue.
I would have told them. It's a nice warm day today, isn't it, in Manchester?
It is. I'm going for a bike ride after this. I've been buying more accessories. I bought this bad boy, phone holder to go on the front, because I keep on getting work calls when I go for a ride during the day, and I need to see if I actually want to take it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Pièce de résistance, and this is two minds about these gloves. I've been going every day, and my hands have been hurting a bit. And like the heels of my hands when I put them on my keyboard afterwards. So I'm hoping that'll fix it a bit.
It's just you need to just get used to it, mate. You can't be wearing gloves.
No.
Well,
they didn't cost very much. So maybe I'll chip it. I got in a bit of a kid when I was probably after a couple of beers on Amazon.
Let me know when you're going out, and I'll be.
I'll send you a picture.
But yours is like a proper mountain bike, so you look the part, mate. You should do it.
I look the part, yeah. Black as well. My bike's black. I look like a bad boy, yeah. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Be thirsty work, getting on the bike. You better make sure you're hydrated beforehand.
How would I do that then?
I reckon by beer of the week.
With beer of the week? What before? Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Well, today, Dan, I have a lovely little beer. Well, I've not had it yet, so I don't know if it is. It might be horrible. Called Misty. And this is from this month's Beer 52 delivery. That is a monthly beer delivery that I get. This month, the theme is Netherlands. So they're all Dutch beers.
Weed infused.
Yeah, maybe. And this is a contemporary IPA.
You should be getting some commission from Beer 52. I think you've mentioned them on a few episodes.
Well, let's see if we can sort that out. Maybe they'll send me a free box. Or us a free box.
You might have to.
I know they're a little company in Leeds, aren't they?
Yeah, you'll have to put a tag on the show notes later. Beer 52.
I get some free beer. Yeah.
Loving your work.
Some podcasts don't mention beers until or products until they get paid for them. We mention products trying to get paid,
or anything free.
It's the new way of doing things, mate. New futuristic business plan. Anyway, what have you got going?
I've got a Seven Brothers Sling It
Oh,
Out
lovely.
Stout from one of their collections that they've done with Kellogg's and
Nice.
upcycled Cocoa Pops. So
Nice.
we'll
So they're back out, are they?
very impressed.
Listeners
I've had a
and
few. They're quite nice.
yeah, listeners and watchers. A Salford brewery called Seven Brothers. We mentioned them before on this, actually, haven't we?
Yeah.
They do, I guess, a collaboration with the local Kellogg's factory, taking their old Cocoa Pops, cornflakes, and Rice Krispies and make beer out of them. And I've had the Rice Krispie one before, and it was really good. And you
Yeah,
could
it's good, isn't it?
just about taste the Rice Krispies.
There's a
It was
little hint.
amazing.
Yeah,
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 and
I
I
agree.
don't think it was just like I wanted to, but it might have been.
Yeah.
So I might,
Cocoa Pops.
yeah, well, I might go back on the website and see if they've got those going. But yeah, should we crack these open?
Let's do it. Nice bit of stout all over the laptop.
Nice. Cocoa Pops in your keyboard. I've had that before.
Of course you have. You've had Cocoa Pops everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really know what that means.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, listeners, watchers.
Cheers, right?
Viewers it is rather than watchers, isn't it? Okay, should we get down to business? That's
wow,
nice. That's very nice.
That's delicious.
Is it?
Yeah, we'll have to tag the breweries in as well as the Beer 52 if we're impressed.
I might even go for a little drive down to Seven Brothers tomorrow and get see if we've got those Rice Krispie bad boys in.
Yeah, the tap house is open on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Have you been? Do you know? Yeah, it's nice.
I know where it is. Is it in Media City?
Yeah, just round the corner. It's near Pomona. Yeah. Pomona Island is just across the road.
Oh, really?
And then Four Sisters Gin.
Payday tomorrow as well.
If the lovely Mrs. Chutney likes gin, you could get her some gin while you're there.
Yeah, I think we've told that story before, haven't we? I think the Seven Brothers. It's actually Seven Brothers, and their sisters, Four Sisters, make Four Sisters Gin. Amazingly. Should we talk about combat sports?
I was going to say, fight. So this most past weekend, another Fight Island event.
Extravaganza.
It was probably the best one so far, barring the big numbered event a while back, I think, where we had Whittaker taking on Darren Till in a middleweight division. Probably a contender fight, really, to see who'd be pushing their way back up the charts. Very close.
I'd say for a non-pay-per-view. Sorry for interrupting, but for a non-pay-per-view, this card was as good as it gets. I'd say
there's a lot of big names on it, wasn't there?
Especially when they haven't got a full pot to choose from due to COVID restrictions.
Yeah, a lot of big historical sort of names with prestige in them that have got big CVs in terms of who they fought. So Darren Till for our boy Whittaker. We were looking forward to this fight a few episodes ago. We were calling out how much we were looking forward to it. Very close fight in the end. I think we both probably predicted that Robert Whittaker would win. And he won by unanimous decision against Darren Till over 5 rounds. It was a very impressive fight. Both fighters got dropped over the space of the first couple of rounds, and Till probably ran out of gas towards the end. I was impressed with both fighters. What was your call on the fight, Chutney?
Yeah, well, it was certainly interesting. Bit of a chess match. I'm not sure I would have put Whittaker in this bracket before, but 2 counter punchers or counter attackers. It put the Woodley-Stephen Thompson fight in May 2018 into perspective. At the time, I thought it was a pretty boring fight. Both of them too respectful of each other, should have got more stuck in. But I think it shows, this fight shows that what more of a chess player he is. And which meant at times, I guess, it didn't need to be 5 rounds, maybe. 3 rounds would have been more fun. But still, maybe. Pretty good fight, yeah. Still, I think I had Whittaker winning. Some people had it 4 rounds to 1. I think I had it 3-2.
Yeah, I had the same. I think Whittaker spoke about it afterwards, the mental pressure and stress he was under going into the fight, and I think that probably played into his performance a bit, because I think after losing to the champion, you don't want to suddenly find yourself on a 2-fight losing skid and totally out of contention. So I think he was probably, because against Israel and Adesanya, he was quite gung-ho, and he opened there was a lot of openings when he was attacking. So I think he was trying to be a bit more calm and reserved and measured in this performance, which I thought was good. He gave Darren Till's lead leg a fair beating, didn't he? I think you heard Till mention to his corner that his knee had gone between, I think, the second and third.
Yeah, no, I heard that after the fact. Actually, I missed it during the fight. I agree with you to an extent. I do think Robert Whittaker's not shown, certainly in recent fights, many facets to his game, and I think he fought pretty much the same fight against Till that he fought against Adesanya, or certainly tried to fight against Adesanya. Jab and a big overhand backhand, and it worked against Till.
Yeah,
and I think it's a tactic that Whittaker is well known for now, and is not one that's difficult to deal with. I'm not saying that I could, but or maybe even comment on how. But Adesanya certainly knew how, and Romero's given him a very tough time before. And I think Till just didn't have that in him. At the same time, this is the elite he's fighting.
Yeah,
Till is fighting, and put up a very good performance, and I was impressed. Really, I was more impressed with him than I have been before. But like I say, it put the Thompson fight in. Not a fight that I thought he won, although the judges felt otherwise. But it certainly put that fight into perspective.
Yeah, I thought Whittaker was a bit more risk averse in this fight than he was against Adesanya.
Do you reckon?
I think so, a little bit. I think the fight with Adesanya was over within the first round. Do you remember he was dropped right at the end? And I think he was a bit gung ho. I think the occasion got to him fighting in Australia and stuff. Seems like a lifetime ago, that with the huge crowd there.
It does. Yeah, he's in very good spirits. With Whittaker, I was listening to his Helwani interview today. I don't know if you heard it.
I haven't. No.
And it's good to hear him in that kind of shape, because he's a nice guy. He's not the most charismatic guy, but he's a nice guy. And there was a time where he wasn't sure if fighting was really for him, and I'm glad that he's enjoying it again. Yeah. So Whittaker is being quarantined in a hotel room in Sydney for 2 weeks, and he can't leave the hotel room. Can't see his family. He's getting food delivered to the door.
Wow.
And he's got to recover there. That's mad, isn't it?
Is that how strict they're being over there now because of?
Yeah, because I mean, Till, if he comes back here, he'll be fucking about Liverpool, won't he?
Think so. Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't think
shouldn't be, but it's things just aren't very strict over here. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he wouldn't follow the rules.
But they've had a second big spike in Australia, haven't they? So I think they're trying to clamp down as quickly as possible. But you're saying about Till's performance, he probably came out of this even though he lost, and he's on a bit of a skid recently, that he'd come out with a fair bit of credit, and you'd still think that he's probably hangs around the top table of the elite fighters in the middleweight division.
And he's got a big following now. He's built up his following. Lockdown has been good to him, I think.
Social media,
all that face changing on social media and all that rubbish. It's not really something I'm interested in, but I know it's been pretty popular, so good for him.
He gets his name. Yeah, it gets his name out there, doesn't it? He's on a bit of a so after the loss against Whittaker, he previously beaten Gastelum, but then he lost to Masvidal and Woodley. So he's been fighting the cream of the crop, really, hasn't he? But there's a fair few losses in there now. What would you do with Till? Would you take him out the limelight for a bit?
His UFC record now is not very good, really.
No,
he's won 5, lost 3, and drawn 1.
Those 3 losses against probably the top
1-6 to be fair. Actually, sorry. Yeah, I agree.
Those 3 losses, so it's tough, isn't it?
Elite, yeah.
So I'd probably be tempted to drop him down into maybe the top, get him against a fighter in the ranked 6th to 10th in the division.
I'm just having a quick look. I'm struggling to get them up myself.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work, that, does it?
Kind of.
So maybe someone like Derek Brunson, Uriah Hall. I think you want to get him.
Who's Brunson about to fight?
He fights this weekend. He's fighting.
Is it Edmund Shabazian? He's fighting Edmund
yeah.
Shabazian. Numbers 8 and 9. and Shabazian is an exciting fighter. It'd be very interesting to see what happens to that fight. Derek Brunson's on pretty good form, I think. He's really found his pace, which is something that he was struggling with previously. I know we're getting a little bit off topic there.
No, that's fine. I think Brunson might lose that fight at the weekend, so I'd put him in with Till, 2 fighters getting on a loss, and just let them scrap it out. What would you do with Whittaker once he's got back to his family and getting back into training? Maybe start next year, get him in a fight. I don't know. Who would you put him in the winner against the champion when Adesanya's fighting Paulo Costa imminently?
Well, there's others hanging around there. There's Cannonier, Hermanson, the winner of Brunson, Shabazian. There's a few people who'll be looking for that spot. So and therefore there's a good few people who Whittaker can continue his run against before he has another crack at the title, and who knows who will have that title at that point.
Yeah, you're right. It's a fair bit away, isn't it? So
he's only 29, Whittaker.
I actually thought he was younger.
Oh, did you? I thought he was older.
I thought he was about 20, but still, yeah. Anything else you want to say about that main event?
No.
Then it was the co-main event of the evening was taken up by two sort of legends of the sport, definitely in the pride era of the sport. These two guys were dominant at certain points, as was, and Shogun also was once in the UFC. So Shogun fought Antonio Rogerio Nogueira in Nogueira's last ever fight, I believe. The two have fought on 2 previous occasions previously, way back when, in Pride and in the UFC. Shogun
2005 in Pride.
Was it?
So the first fight was 15 years ago. Carry on, sorry.
And Shogun had won both previous fights. I think this has been in the works for a while. This third fight, it was a bit of a drawn out affair, 3-rounder. Shogun won split decision from memory. I'll just check. Yeah, split decision.
It was,
They both sort of looked their ages in there, didn't they?
They did a bit, but it's also their older style of doing things, I think. Certainly the Brazilian Pride veterans who stand and bang. Who was, I forget his name, John, the commentator, English commentator for UFC. Gooden. John Gooden.
Yeah.
He is very good. He is a good one. He really knows his stuff. He knows his stuff more than any other UFC commentator I've seen. And I mean commentator rather than co-commentator or color commentator.
So more than John Anik. Yeah,
definitely. He is. He's well versed in jiu-jitsu, in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and other martial arts, and he's a long time fan. John Anik is a very good sports commentator who, as a result of getting the UFC job, made it his business to know everything he possibly could, and he's very good at what he does. But John Gooden knows so much more, and he's in the same league as the co-commentators who are former professional fighters, but not as good as them in terms of knowledge. Though I think he's excellent. So he was talking about.
You've got it bad for John Gooden. Wow.
Well, one of the reasons I say it is that he doesn't get that much shine because he's English. He wears his bow tie and stuff to distinguish himself from the others. Yeah, and it's a good mark for him. But he only does the European shows basically, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Or maybe like a New Zealand one or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, I think does he do Cage Warriors as well? I might be wrong.
I don't know if
Dan
he does
Hardy
anymore.
does Cage Warriors, doesn't he?
I think he may have done way back in the day. I think there's probably something about the American market and that English accent that sometimes doesn't work for the main commentator.
No, I can understand that. And John Anik's got that voice. He's got the commentator voice, hasn't he?
So we were talking about
even puts on a
Shogun,
bit
and
thick.
you got into,
Yeah.
how does that link?
So
to
he was talking about their previous fights, how this is a carbon copy of the previous two.
Right.
Bang, bang, bang. Shogun takes him down. And he used more words. So yeah, I had Shogun winning that anyway.
Yeah, right, sweet.
Nogueira at the end doing his interview, say, grateful to the sport and everything it's done for me, and usual stuff for retirement speech. So it's time for the new generation to come through. So, well, which generation is that? Because I'm pretty sure 3 have come through since you started fighting.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time, hasn't he?
A very long time. In fact, I'm going to check that out because we've not really mentioned that. So he's had
How old is he?
33 fights. He is 44 years old. His first professional fight being in 2001. So 19 years. Pretty long.
Some wars in there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nakamura,
many
Dan
of which
Henderson.
well before my time, but yeah. Overeem, Henderson, Shogun, Overeem again.
Shevchenko. Whew. Yeah.
Yeah, Bader, Davis, Ortiz, Evans, Johnson, Cummins, Bader again. Just
hopefully he can enjoy his retirement, set up a gym with his big brother, and enjoy their hard-earned.
Is his brother retired?
Yeah.
They're twins, aren't they?
Big Nog. Yes. Yeah. Big Nog. He retired a while ago. I think he had a lot of hits to the head as a big heavyweight. So one of the nicest guys in MMA.
Yeah.
So as you said, it was probably the fight that everyone expected. A bit of a bang bang, take you down fight, and then went from there. Talking to legends and previous.
Bang bang bang, Shogun takedown. That's what it was.
Bang, bang. That's the name of this episode. A former Pride heavyweight he wasn't a Pride heavyweight champion actually, so ignore that. In the heavyweight division. I was just trying to find out a tenuous link that I couldn't really get. In the heavyweight division, Fabricio Verdum in his last fight in the UFC. Last fight in the UFC, I believe, or last fight.
So it seems. Last time
currently contracted. Yeah.
Doesn't look like he's coming back.
Welcomed Alexander Gustafsson up from the light heavyweight division into the heavyweight division and finished him in the first round quite easily, really. Submission, armbar. What did you make of the size and shape of Gustafsson?
Well, we didn't really get to see it properly, did we?
He was 240 pounds, though. That's quite a big jump from 205.
I was surprised how heavy he was. I don't know what to say, really. I don't know much about his camp and things like that, so it's hard to comment. But it's surprisingly big, and he looked like a different person, didn't he? Because you get people who might weigh in at 205, but come into a fight over 220 or more. But to be, what would you say, 244 was it?
Yeah, 240.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put the pounds on to match the big boys. Verdum's not a small man. He's certainly not slim.
I thought he wore it quite well. I don't think he looked massive.
Didn't look fat. No. He held it, I guess. But like I say, we didn't really get a chance to see it, and I think that's credit to Verdum, really, who got the job done quickly. Great scramble to chase him and drag him back down when he thought he was going to get Gustafsson was going to get back up, and just didn't give him a chance to get into the fight.
No, it was a shame. Really, I'd like to see him on Gustafsson. I'd like to see him fight another heavyweight and just see what he looks like.
If his arm's not too badly damaged, I think we will see him soon.
Yeah, and I don't think he was. He was only 2 minutes 30 seconds. I think Verdum knew as soon as he sunk it in that he wasn't going to pull back because I think he knew he had it. We're probably going to see Verdum fight elsewhere across the world now, get some fights under his belt, get some paydays. I think he was a bit pissed off the UFC with his ban that he had the last.
They've not got a very good relationship. He doesn't get on with many people there, does he?
No. Saying that, I really like him. I think I like his style. Yeah. I like his fighting style.
He threw a boomerang at Colby Covington
Fair enough.
He gave Tony Ferguson homophobic abuse from memory. He's always getting himself in different bits of trouble.
Yeah, so I think his relationship with the UFC has come to an end, a natural end there with the end of the contract. So I probably won't see him again. Hopefully, we see Gustafsson getting in another heavyweight fight between now and then the year. It'd be good to see more contenders in the heavyweight division. Hopefully, Gustafsson can show off in his next fight a bit more than we saw this week. Carlos Esparza, won in a split decision fight. What did you make of Esparza's performance?
Boring fight.
It wasn't great.
Yeah, she won. I think she clearly won. I don't know why it's split decision. Just kept her down for most of the fight, quicker to the punch. Not much else. Next fight was interesting.
Paul Craig, light heavyweight division. Scottish Paul Craig won by another submission and another triangle choke. He's looking half decent at times, Paul Craig.
He is. And these Russians that are coming into the UFC, this guy from ACB, and quite a few of them coming from there, a lot of them submission specialists. Well, the Scotsman, Paul Craig, immediately when he was on his back, pulled his legs up, his long legs, and got him into a triangle and choked him out.
It was good, wasn't it? He did sort of lure him in, and suddenly snapped it on. It's like, it was quite impressive.
It was a very impressive performance. Yeah, interesting to see where he goes next.
Yeah, make a bit of a name for himself. He could get into the top 10 in terms of next opponent, hopefully soon. Alex Oliveira. I can't even speak because of that Cocoa Pops. By the way, that Cocoa Pops is really. You can get a hint of Cocoa Pops to it.
Really, I love Cocoa Pops, but I don't like stout. So I'd like a taste of it, but might even buy a can to put on the shelf.
He won.
He beat Pops.
Yeah, he won in the welterweight division with a unanimous decision. I can't really remember this fight.
It was Peter Sabota's a really tough guy. They fought pretty similar. It was a kickboxing match, a bit toe to toe at times, but Oliveira was just quicker to the punch, basically. So it was a fair unanimous decision. Sabota was never going down because he's hard as nails.
In the welterweight division, to start off the main card, I don't remember this fight really much either. Finished by was this another Russian? Chimaev beat Reese McKee. I think I fast forward.
He's Chechen. So Khamzat Chimaev is the guy who fought 10 days earlier.
Of course he is.
Previous fight.
Why has he not got a Wikipedia page?
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Do you know what? That's what threw me. That is exactly what threw me.
Yeah, can't be him. Not after MMA World is talking about him.
I'm going to make him
McKee is, I think he's a Cage Warriors champion.
He was. Yeah.
And
highly thought of as well.
Highly thought of, but brought in against the wrong person at the wrong time, really. So I feel bad for him. I hope he gets another fight in the UFC. Khamzat Chimaev, who's fought twice in the UFC now, both times has been first round stoppages, and he's just
he dominated
a terrifying
him, didn't he?
wrestler. Yeah, really did. He's I'm kind of paraphrasing Daniel Cormier here, but he's like Khabib, but without feeling a fighter out. Just goes straight in, takes them down, beats the shit out of them.
Really did, and it was like a bully, wasn't it? Schoolyard bully, just got on top of him and smashed him. It was. I was looking forward to. I thought that Reese McKee was going to put up a bit more of a fight than that, but just overwhelmed. Before we talk about one of the major talking points from that card in terms of the referee and Dan Hardy, is there anything from the prelim cards you want to call out? There was a lot of fights on there.
Yeah, I to be honest, I didn't watch them. I got Nathaniel Wood, Brit, who won. Yeah. He's there or thereabouts, still in the UFC. I think he's. He's. Oh well, to be fair, no, he's won 4 out of 5. I thought he'd lost a couple. He's only lost one, to be fair to him, and that was to John Dodson, who, well, used to be a decent fighter. So yeah, good luck to him.
Should we talk about Herb Dean and the controversy with Dan Hardy and his perceived late stoppage?
Let's do that. Yeah.
So Herb Dean jumped in. Sorry, he jumped in as the fighter hit the ground. Looked like the lad was KO'd stiff, really. And then Herb didn't stop the fight, and he carried on taking a few more punches. And you could hear Dan Hardy on the sideline saying, "Stop the fight! Stop the fight!" Eventually, the fight was stopped, and then there was a bit of an altercation or verbal altercation outside the cage between Herb Dean and Dan Hardy. There's since been a fair few back and forths on Twitter and social media.
It's a great video of them having a confrontation.
Yeah, I couldn't really hear what was said in that.
No,
in that video.
You couldn't hear it. There's music playing, wasn't there?
And then
in each other's faces.
Herb Dean put out a video where he talked about his position in the fight, and how he had a bit of a bird's eye view of the downed up fighter, and he could see what was going on, and it wasn't particularly helpful for anyone within the arena to shout "Stop the fight," especially if there's only professionals in the arena. That's something that shouldn't be happening from a cage side commentator. I think Dan Hardy was overcome by emotion. I think he knew the fighter as well.
Did he?
So I think that I think he's trained with him. So I think there's probably a few points we want to drag out from that. First off, do you think it was a bad stoppage?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a bad stoppage, wasn't it? Herb Dean's had a few recently over the last probably 18 months where he hasn't been. I think it was a while where he was quite. The consensus was he was probably the best referee in the business. That might not be the case anymore. So
a couple of years ago. Your man, I forget his name now, from Birmingham/Glasgow.
Glasgow.
I'm thinking of
Mark.
Yeah, the Brumby.
Mark. Mark.
I
can't fucking remember.
Yeah, Mark
Goddard.
Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard.
He's from Glasgow originally. Moved to Birmingham when he was a kid. That's why he's got a Birmingham accent.
Oh, is that why? I thought he was just putting it on. Seen the Peaky Blinders. So it was a bad stoppage. I agree with that. What do you make of?
He's also had early stoppages. I think didn't he do the Askren and Robbie Lawler fight? And Lawler had Askren had Lawler in a headlock and he stopped the fight.
Schoolyard.
That was mad. That was mad.
Yeah.
So I think.
What do you make of Dan Hardy then, and Dan Hardy's reaction?
I think Hardy has acted unprofessionally since, and somewhat at the time. So to shout "Stop the fight," there's nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, at the moment, everyone can hear it because there's tens of people in the arena rather than thousands, and it can be distracting for people there. But that's just the way it is, unfortunately. I'm not sure you can tell commentators not to shout out their feelings because that's their job.
But I think, and Herb Dean's point just on that is that it could be misunderstood to be one of the cornermen from the fight.
Yeah.
So
which is disappointing, but so be it. What do you want him to do? Not be a commentator? No,
but if Herb Dean heard that and then stopped the fight on the basis that he thought it was the corner man, then it was an incorrect instruction. So he'd be like, that's Herb Dean's position. I'm not saying I agree or not.
Poor. That's poor. There's a towel.
I'm not sure,
There's a towel for that. You can't shout "Stop the fight" from the corner. You throw in the towel. It's not a metaphor in MMA,
but I think it's split seconds, isn't it? And the referee's probably not thinking, "Where's the towel?" The referee's probably thinking, "Someone shouted that."
Anyone could shout that. Anyone could shout that. Bruce Buffer could shout it if he sees something horrible. Yeah, that's not.
But in that circumstance, though, it would be drowned out by the sound of the crowd and the sound of everyone in the arena. Whereas this,
I say Bruce Buffer because he's right next to. He's as close.
When
there's
almost 16,000 people in the arena, it's probably. But that was his argument anyway.
But that's not Dan Hardy's fault. That's the lack of that's COVID's fault, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, but then to confront him afterwards. Well, I guess Herb Dean went to him, and if he did, then that's Herb Dean being unprofessional, really. And then the back and forth afterwards, I've not really enjoyed that. I think it's a bit petty. Fine for Herb Dean to explain himself. I think it's good that he makes himself accountable.
I do.
But then Dan Hardy said some pretty distasteful things since, and especially when the dust has settled. At the time, if you're seeing someone being hurt and you shout how you feel, then go ahead. But after that, not cool really for me.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed with Hardy's. I wasn't really impressed with his reaction on the night or afterwards. Really, I understand he's coming from his heart's in the right place. I don't give a shit. His heart's in the right place, fair enough. But you need to. He's a professional, and I don't think he's been acting very professional in some of that.
No, I don't think so.
So there's lessons to be learned. I think Herb Dean probably fair play to him for taking some accountability and putting his argument forward. I think it all stems down to the fact that there's probably amongst the whole referee population, there's no real accountability or judging of referees after the fact. So that's probably where there's a bit of a problem. But I'd like Dan to be a bit more diplomatic in some of his critique. Anything else from that card before we move on to anything? Yeah. Well, Dan Hardy's not anymore. He needs to get in the fucking cage. Anything else from that fight card? I think it was pretty half decent, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah. That's it for me. But yeah, it was good. Good performances generally in the fight. Yeah.
I haven't seen this news, but apparently Dana White has said that there's possibility for Holloway and Volkov to go at it again for a third time.
Yeah. So what he said is that looking at everyone who's in the rankings, they've all got fights coming up.
Right. Okay.
And therefore, he thinks there is an argument for a third fight. I've seen since then that Volkanovski doesn't like the sound of that at all. He doesn't see why that would happen. Is the way he's put it. Doesn't see a need for it.
I can understand that.
I can understand that, and both Holloway and Volkanovski have earned a break. So who knows what will happen by the end of that break?
Yeah, I've seen Max taking as much time off as possible, getting shit back together. Has there been any other fights recently on Fight Island that have caught your eye? The cards themselves haven't been fantastic, but there might have been one or two decent fights. We crowned a new champion in the flyweight division a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, there's a couple of things to talk about. I mean, Figueiredo. I think this is a new era of the flyweights. Dana has said himself that the division has been revived when it was close to death's door. Figueiredo, for a second time, has beaten Joseph Benavidez with ease, and has crowned himself as the new flyweight champion. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Get a bit excited. Kevin Gastelum had a poor outing on that card as well. He lost the submission in I think it was under 90 seconds, I believe. It's Jack Hermansson.
Yeah, heel hook from Jack Hermansson. I mentioned him earlier as being in the middleweight rankings and potentials for Robert Whittaker. He's an exciting fighter, nice guy, always a smile on his face, hence his name, the Joker. So I think there's a lot can be done with that.
Talking to nice guys, I think we've got some mark as a UK and Republic of Ireland podcast and representing that Joseph Duffy lost in his lightweight fight via submission, and he's decided to call it a day. Donegal man from originally, Joseph Duffy, the first man to beat Conor McGregor, probably the top of his CV that everyone brings up in every interview with him. I always like watching Joe Duffy. Thought he was a decent fighter.
Was he the first man to beat him? I'm fact checking you on that. Fuck. I'll tell you what. No, he wasn't. And I've made the mistake before. That's why I know. Artemi Sittenkov in Cage of Truth 3 beat Conor in his third fight, the knee bar.
Oh.
And then 3 fights later, Joseph Duffy beat him.
Thanks for shaming me to all our fucking viewers, mate. Our watchers, as you say.
Yeah. Who watches the watchers?
Anything else recently you want to call out? You plum.
You missed out Raphael Fiziev and Mark Ducasey, Britain's own on that card.
Yeah, I don't remember the fight.
That was that's the guy who does the Matrix dodging when he leans back. It was a really good toe-to-toe fight. Ducasey, who's having a bit of a comeback in the UFC, that was stopped by Fiziev in that fight. But Ducasey still showed that he's belongs in the UFC, so I think he'll be sticking around. There's also Ariane Lipsky, did that knee bar on Luana Carolina. It was very easy for her, but that knee bar was horrible. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. No.
She screamed out. If you saw it, you'd remember it because you'll have nightmares about it since. She screamed out in pain. It was awful. And then the opener on the main card, Askar Askarov and Alexandre Pantoja, was a really good another flyweight fight. So that the flyweight division is really coming up again, and Askarov is now a contender for that belt, Figueiredo's belt. So it was actually a pretty good card. Brett Johns,
Welshman, isn't he?
Welshman, I think. Didn't he do the Sulev stretch in the fight a few fights ago? I think it was him.
Oh yeah, he did.
Anyway,
he did.
Yeah. He won. So it's actually while not the best card, some pretty good fights on there, but actually some meaningful results on there.
Cool. Before we move on to your detailed agenda in the world of boxing, as that starts to get back into life, is there anything from MMA you want to call out before we move on?
What have we got on the notes? I've not got them up right now.
I think we've covered everything in the notes.
Yeah, no, I think it's time to move on to good old boxing, which is back. Boxing is back, Dennis.
Slowly but surely, it's getting there, isn't it?
It is, and and there's good noises other than what we know already. Yeah.
Talk us through the first bit, Joyce. I can never fucking
heavyweight Joe Joyce last weekend knocked out Michael Wallish in the third round. Not a taxing fight for him, so not really. Still not seeing what he's really capable of, but it looks like that set up an October bout with Daniel Dubois, both Frank Warren fighters.
That is going to be fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I mean Daniel Dubois, as far as I'm aware, is a more of experienced fighter, had tougher opposition, so I'd favour Dubois in that fight. But it's great to see two big British boxing heavyweight contenders fighting each other, and that's not a dig at Fury and Joshua or anything like that. That is just it's just good to see.
Is it too soon?
Chisora and White back in the day. I wasn't very excited about that fight, and then you saw it and like, wow. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it's about time for them. It's time for one of them to show that they're the ones to be pushed forward onto the international scene.
I think I've just got to worry it might be a tiny bit too soon for Joyce, but I suppose whoever loses, it's however they rebound, and we've seen some decent fighters like Dillian White lose before in combat. Yeah, I agree. So has a date been set for that? Sorry. Has a date been set for that?
Yeah, October, I believe. I've not got the date in front of me, but yeah, I believe it's October.
That's good. Good. Looking forward to
I'm
that.
not sure. Do we know where that Joe Joyce fight was? I'm not sure whether Frank Warren's doing.
It was in the BT studio.
Was it?
Like a little warehouse, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that was good.
More?
Sorry, I thought you were about to.
Happy to. Sorry, you're the main host there. Derek Chisora is fighting Usyk. No, I can't remember Usyk's first name. That's hope for October. Fight that's been talked about a lot. That is a decent heavyweight fight. I think we've seen Usyk at heavyweight now, haven't we? Since Bellew. Has he had one fight?
Yes.
I think he's had one.
For you while you.
Yeah, please do. So, and that is an important fight in the heavyweight division, both on the pound for pound list. Then we've got Dillian White and Alexander Povetkin, 22nd of August. This is at the Matchroom Fight Camp.
That's good. In the back garden of Eddie Hearn, isn't it?
It is. Matchroom have this mansion in Bedfordshire, I think, and they've built this mini. They put a ring.
Yep.
They put a ring
together.
and ring and some chairs out and a little gazebo on top. It looks pretty impressive. It looks very nice in their gardens and stuff.
That's bloody pay-per-view, isn't it? The Chisora fight. Sorry, the.
I believe so.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Sorry, White.
White Chisora versus Usyk. I'm not sure if that's pay-per-view or not. Yeah, Usyk has fought at heavyweight before. He fought Chaz Witherspoon and finished him after round 7.
You're one of these. We talked about it last time actually. One of them's got Katie Taylor on.
Yes, I think that's the what she call one.
Pursoon. She's fighting Pursoon. Matchroom, while sometimes they do these pay-per-views with fighters that you wouldn't necessarily, the main event, you wouldn't necessarily think, well, that's not worth 20 quid, even though Americans have to pay 100 for these, but they tend to pack the card.
So there's good quality boxes on there. Even if you don't know, you're right. Even though if you don't know the names of some of the guys coming up, they're always good quality. Yeah, the White Povetkin card is pretty stacked, to be fair, and that's the pay-per-view one. That's where Katie Taylor's fighting.
Right.
Yeah, we never know. We might be able to get out and watch that somewhere.
Yeah, hopefully we can.
You were mentioning how pay-per-view can be expensive in America. I think they've just released the cost of a pay-per-view coming up in August time, September, I should say. Roy Jones Jr. It's been announced that he's fighting Mike Tyson. $50 for the pay-per-view in America. Would you be putting your hard-earned cash down for
that? Yes, I believe it's going to be £39 here.
It's pay-per-view here. Fucking no.
Yeah. Well, I think it might be, in fact, that it's $50 and the equivalent is £39. So I think we'd be paying $50 for this particular website if we wanted to watch it.
I see. Because no one would pay 40 quid for a pay-per-view over here.
No. It's they're in their 50s. They're both big hitters. Why is this being sanctioned? Stupid. I think it's stupid.
8-rounder, isn't it?
It's an 8-rounder. It's called an exhibition, but Mike Tyson doesn't do exhibitions. He bites off people's ears.
Have you seen the shape of him as well? He's looking good.
Oh, if he's lost any power, it's a negligible amount. He's a very strong 54-year-old.
Prediction, please.
Well, Roy Jones Jr. has got 3 years on him. So at 51, he's going to be the quicker fighter, I think. I think Tyson will knock him out in the first round. That's what I think will happen.
Do you? Shit. Yeah. Right. I think Roy Jones Jr. will just outpoint him and not get hurt. And that's his aim. I hope. Yeah, I don't really care what happens. I will watch it.
I hope.
I will watch it. I won't pay for it, but I will watch it. But I think paying for it probably fucking encourages them even more, doesn't
it? Yeah. That's why you're going to go on Pirate Bay.
Don't know what is Pirate Bay.
To help the aged.
Yeah. Showtime cards have got a fair bit coming up.
They do. So Showtime's back. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they've been back at all. ESPN's been back, and now Showtime, and they're putting on some decent cards. Most notable being their 3 pay-per-views. 2 pay-per-views really, because they've got the Charlo twins on one card, who are both fighting real contenders. So this isn't a joke lineup they've got here. So that's a decent bout. And then we've got Gervonta Davis fighting Leo Santa Cruz, bantamweights, and
such a dick.
Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
Well, he's Floyd Mayweather's protege, isn't he? So
I know, yeah. He is
but
class.
he's good.
He is class, but
He's
I
good,
don't like him.
and he's only fought bums really until now, and that is in over 23 fights. This is his biggest test yet. I'm actually really looking forward to that because Gervonta Davis is October 24th or 24th of October. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, not till October. So we'll talk about it more close to the time. But Gervonta Davis is often talked about the next big pay-per-view star. He's got the look, he's got the attitude, and he's got the ability.
The flash, yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Because Leo Santa Cruz, while not the best around necessarily at that weight, certainly a very talented fighter.
It's all looking promising with boxing. Slowly getting back together again.
Yeah,
and
I think you're right saying slowly. Yeah.
And it's got to be slow, hasn't it? They've got to test and learn with a lot of these events coming up.
Yeah, boxing does,
especially when pay-per-views on the line. And UFC, to be fair to them, I know that they've probably copped a fair bit of criticism from all quarters in terms of how aggressive they were in getting their business up and running again. But in the main, I think it's gone.
Haven't they?
I think it's gone. Yeah, it's gone well, hasn't it? To be fair, it's been.
And not only that, they've got more to come. In fact, I've got some bouts to talk about. If you want me to run through them quickly.
Yeah. There's a couple this weekend.
Well, I'm just going to go through what I've got on my phone in no particular order. If that's all right.
Sorry, yeah.
I've got Lewis and Olenek, 8th of August. Edmund Shabazian, talked about already. Justin Gaethje and Khabib Nurmagomedov, which we should have talked about already, really, has been booked for October the 24th. So Khabib, after his father died, is going to be ready to come back in October for that unification fight after Gaethje won the interim belt. What else have we got?
While you're thinking, we spoke about it already, but Stipe Miocic and DC, they're all in the books now for August time. That's probably my most anticipated fight of the year. I'd love to see the heavyweights go at it.
Yeah, very exciting.
Two of the best.
That's the UFC Apex, the smaller octagon they've got there. I'd say that favours DC, and most people seem to agree with that. Definitely. Frankie Edgar's back fighting Pedro Munoz, August the 22nd. What's his name? Johnny Walker is coming back fighting Span in 19th of September, UFC 253.
Last time we saw him, he dislocated his shoulder, didn't he, doing the flop?
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah. He won the fight in spectacular fashion, celebrating, dislocated his shoulder. Amazing. So we've got it all to look forward to. Other good news out of the Matchroom, what's it called? What are they calling it? Can't remember now. The Matchroom camp or whatever they're calling it. Fight camp. Name really. Anyway, everyone for the first event this weekend has been tested and they're all clear.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? So it is
very
good. The world of combat sport is slowly getting out of the slumber it's been. Hopefully there'll be no big spikes anywhere that will slow the progress up.
Well, fortunately for our podcast, it's a generally irresponsible industry. So so we're getting it back before any other sport.
And we're happy with that. So yeah. Anything you want to tell our listeners and viewers before we hit the road?
We are getting a producer, which is exciting. So hopefully we'll have better quality sounds coming to you soon, thanks to Heed. And what else? You can find me on Twitter at Chutney News. You can find Den at Braemar Soldier. That's BRAEMAR Soldier. You can email us at ftabpod@hotmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, ftabnews, at ftabnews. We have been played in and out by the wonderful Secondhand Guns. Find them on Spotify. Great Manchester band. I think that's all the name checks, is it? Beer 52, send us some free beers.
Beer 52, Seven Brothers.
Yes, given all, Seven Brothers too. Thank you to, I didn't tell you the brewery on this actually. Trench Company.
Oh, yeah. Easy for you to say.
I've pronounced that. incorrectly. But yeah, nice beer that. Not quite finished it, but can't fault it. Not the most exciting round, but very little wrong with it. So yeah, great. Thank you.
Good. Right, listeners, viewers, watchers, it's been great. The only thing that's left to say is for those about to brawl, we salute you.